Hello and welcome back, and today I want to talk to you about 5 books that I am putting off and the reason why I'm putting them off, but I really want to read them. I'm scared to read these books. Now the first one, which I should think is on quite a lot of people's list, is War and Peace. This, I can't even get my whole hand around this book, and that is why it scares me so much. Not only is it a thick book, it is obviously written in Old English, sort of, so the literature in it is quite difficult. But I mean, look at that writing. That's really small as well. So yeah, a lot of things are putting me off this book. So let me just tell you a bit about what this book is. It is basically centered around the Napoleon's war with Russia in the 1800s, and I think it's told from the perspective of 3 different characters, so it will be a lot to take in. I think this is going to be a book that I read alongside something else and probably just read a few pages at a time, so a book like this will probably take me 3 months, I reckon. So yeah, that's probably why I'm putting this particular book off. Now this second book is not a thick book, and it's a fairly new book actually, and it's James by Percival Everett. Now this book was nominated for the Booker Prize last year, so 2024, and if I'm honest, I thought that this book was going to win, and I think that's why I've built my hopes up with this book so much, and I think that is the actual reason why I am so afraid to pick it up. So this book is actually sort of a retelling of Huckleberry Finn, which I have read, but I think I want to read again before I read this as well. But this book is shown from the perspective of a slave who is on the journey with Huckleberry down the river. So I'll just read what the blur says about it. When the enslaved Jim overhears that he is about to be sold to a new owner in New Orleans and be separated from his wife and daughter forever, he decides to hide on nearby Jackson Island until he can formulate a plan. Meanwhile, Huck Finn has faked his own death to escape his violent father, who recently returned to town. Thus begins a dangerous and transcendent journey by raft on the Mississippi River towards the endeavourous promise of the Free State and beyond. As Jim and Huck navigate the treacherous waters, each bend in the river holds the promise of both salvation and demise. With rumours of a brewing war, James must face the burden he carries, the family he is desperate to protect, and the constant lie he must live, and together the unlikely pair embark on the most dangerous and life-changing odyssey of them all. So yeah, I think it will be a very good read, but I think I've just bigged it up so much in my head that I'm afraid that it's actually going to be a rubbish read, so that's why I'm a bit scared to pick that one up. The third book is The Shadow of the God by John Gwynne. Now this is a fantasy book. This is a Norse inspired fantasy, so it's basically about myth, magic and bloody vengeance. It's the beginning of a trilogy. It's the Bloodsworn trilogy, and the reason again that I'm a bit worried about reading this book is simply because I actually follow his sons on YouTube, and obviously they're going to big this book up so much that I'm so afraid that because they've bigged it up and that I'm not going to enjoy it. They're not the only ones that big it up. There are so many people out there that big this book up. I've never read anything from him before, so I definitely need to jump into this, but again I'm just so scared that it's not going to live up to the hype of what social media is telling us. So that would be the third one. Book number 4 is a Stephen King. So this is called 11/22/63. It's basically about a school teacher that time travels from 2011 back to the time of JFK's assassination, and he tries to stop the assassination taking place. So it's probably not a horror, so it's more suspense, I should probably say. But the reason I want to read this is simply because we all know that the last few books of Stephen King that I've read, I haven't been a massive fan. And I really want to love Stephen King so much. And everyone on TikTok and Instagram says this is a fantastic book. So it's going to be the next Stephen King book I read. But again, I'm just so worried that if this doesn't, you know, live up to the hype from social media, that I'm not going to read any more Stephen King. But I mean, it's another thick book at nearly 750 pages, so a bit like all of these books. I think War and Peace is over 1,000 pages, hence why it's going to take so long. But yeah, this book is something that I really, really want to love, and I hope that I do, so that I can continue my journey of reading Stephen King, and hopefully this book will be the book that I love that will continue that journey. And finally, this book has been on my shelf for a little while. It's actually a book I picked up in the charity shop, and you've probably seen it on a book haul that I did at the beginning of my channel, and it's called The Priority of the Orange Tree. Again, it's another thick book. So I think we're on 700 odd pages, 700, nearly 800 pages probably with this book. That's not why it scares me. This book scares me simply because someone that I work with, or it might be my nephew, I can't quite remember, told me that there's so many characters in this book and so much going on to have a notepad next to me when I read it. So that's kind of put me off a little bit. It's a fantasy book. It's basically, the back says, a world divided, a kingdom without an heir, an ancient enemy awakens. So yeah, it's something that I really want to read, but again, somebody's put me off, and I know I shouldn't be put off by other people, because reading his perspective is, you know, everyone has a choice about whether they like that book or not. And those people they didn't like, they said this book's fantastic. They loved this book, they just said it was a very difficult read. And I think I just need to be in the right mental brain space for this book to read it. I think I'm going to need a lot of time to understand this book. So again, that's basically why I am putting it off. So yeah, that's the 5 books that I am putting off reading, that I really want to read, but I'm just too scared to. So yeah, tell me what you think about these 5 books, but also tell me about books that you guys are putting off, about the, you know, the books that you are scared to read and why. And maybe I can put them on my TBR, or maybe, you know, I might be scared to read them, who knows. Put it in the comments below. I really, really hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please, please, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try and put videos out weekly. I'm not promising, because obviously I do work full time, and I'm just a girl that wants to be honest about her reading experience. It's not going to be all fluffy like you see on social media. I'm not that sort of person. I'm just going to tell you from my heart what I think about books. So yeah, please subscribe. If you like this video, please like and comment, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.